The DJI drone ban is here, and if you're not staying up to date, you're going to be left on the ground. And in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what's going on, why it's happening, and what to expect for the rest of 2025. So if you've noticed in the past couple of weeks, every DJI drone has become more and more difficult to purchase. Availability is limited, and there's a few reasons why. This started realistically probably back in spring, maybe the late winter. You know, you used to be able to just walk into your local Best Buy, you'd see a dozen different drones on display, and you'd be walking out with one 10 minutes later. I noticed back in April that they were slowly starting to become more and more scarce on the shelves. And, you know, obviously there's a lot of things going on, so I didn't really think anything of it at the time. And obviously, then in May, DJI released the Mavic 4 Pro to everyone except US buyers. And at the time, the narrative was, oh, this is because of the tariffs. It'll be over soon. You know, once they come to an agreement, it's going to be available and it'll all be over. And obviously, there's been so much back and forth on the tariff situation. Things are changing every day. But at this current time, they're reportedly only 10% higher than they used to be when it comes to this specific situation. And so here we are 2 months later, still no Mavic 4 Pro in the US with really no apparent release in sight. And if you speak to anyone from DJI and ask them why this is happening, they'll say, oh, it's the tariffs, man. And that may have been true to a certain point, but there's actually a lot more to it than that. So less than 2 weeks ago, on July 15th, the US actually launched a national security probe into DJI and Autel, and the investigation is going to evaluate whether the reliance on these foreign-made drones, specifically from China, pose a threat to US national security. And if you're in this space, you've seen this coming for a while now. You know, they've been talking about it for years, but a law was actually signed in 2024, back in December, I think it was, by President Biden, which opened the door to an eventual ban on new DJI and Autel models in the US. And Congress on both sides has been working on this for a few years now, so this isn't a Trump versus Biden or a red versus blue issue. It's people on both sides. And if you remember, DJI drones used to have this geofencing in the software that basically kept everyone from taking off just wherever and whenever they wanted, around airports, areas they shouldn't be flying, things like that. And in order to bypass that, you had to go through this process through their website of getting it cleared with DJI. Well, about 6 months ago, so right after the December bill was signed, they removed all geofencing. So you could just take off really wherever without having to go through all of that clearance that you typically had to. And most people think that was probably in response to the possible ban that was coming. So here we are at the end of July. We've seen used DJI prices skyrocketing. I saw Mavic 2 Pro on Amazon the other day for $16.99. Insane. They removed all the parts, drones, DJI Care, all of it has been removed from their website. Every single new drone from every retailer imaginable, whether that's Best Buy, B&H, Adorama, Amazon, every model is just, it's completely out of stock. You can't buy them. And I spoke with Adorama's business department just a few days ago. They told me they didn't have an update for the Mavic 4 Pro specifically. And even though it said that they had limited stock available, they claimed it was a bug on their end and that this drone was just not able to be purchased here in the US at all. But we know they've been releasing them here and there. For right now, there's just nothing we can do on that end. So let's think about it for a second. Is it the 10% tariffs like so many and DJI themselves have suggested? Well, common sense would say if it was, they just raise the prices slightly. You know, when you look at their other products, they've increased. Back in March, I purchased the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 Creator Combo for $670, and you fast forward to today, that same package is $980, and that's a 46% increase. So if we had to pay for that increase on drones, you know, a 15-20%, I think most of us would do so. We'd just like to have that option. So now, with almost zero options to purchase these, you know, our businesses rely on these products, and the US is looking to audit and investigate DJI and their security when it relates to the United States. DJI supposedly has agreed And obviously this is their biggest market when it comes to drones, but the US, again, supposedly is just not responding at this time. So if DJI isn't formally audited for security by December 23rd of this year, the 2025 NDAA will automatically ban all new DJI drones by adding them to the FCC's covered list. In the meantime, there's no real US-based alternatives. The second largest drone manufacturer, Autel, is on the same report, and so they may be banned as well. I'm not going to talk about Skydio and their role in this one or how you feel about them. Regardless, this is the biggest thing to happen in this space possibly ever. And almost every industry relies on these, whether it's real estate, construction, agriculture, energy, search and rescue, even police and fire departments all across the country use DJI products on a daily basis. So it's just really confusing for everybody, really. So I'm going to be making a few more of these just to keep you guys updated, because I've had a lot of people in the industry asking me, Devin, why are all the drones sold out? This is just the beginning, and I think there's a very good chance this is going to continue for the time being until we can get DJI and the US government to come to some kind of an agreement, and whether they find some sort of workaround by selling their parts and having a US-based manufacturer put them together and sell them. They may find some workarounds here. We're going to talk about that in the next video. So I hope that helps bring you guys up to speed. Again, my name's Devin, and I run a creative business here on the seacoast of New Hampshire. And I've been flying drones for 10 years now, and we have not ever seen anything like this. So subscribe if you want to stay up to date, and I'll see you guys in the next one.